Hi, Alexa.
Hi.
Thank you for coming in today. How's everything going?
Good, I guess. Today's not as bad as usual, so yeah, pretty good. Can't complain, really.
That's good. Do you mind if I take notes?
Of course. You may take notes. Go ahead.
So you said today's better than usual. What is it usually like?
I don't know. I think I just had a good day with my partner. Usually we don't have very good days, and this was like one of the days we agreed on something for once. I used to go to an anger management class here, and they ended the classes, and I thought I had some kind of like control over it by the time the classes had ended. But he says that I'm just like, it's gotten worse and et cetera, and I finally kind of just like was like, okay, whatever, fine. And so I came to see him. So yeah, it's not that bad.
So he thinks it's getting out of hand again, is what I'm hearing?
He thinks it's getting out of hand. I don't necessarily think it's getting out of hand. There's been like a couple different drawbacks. Stress. Stress just you react a certain way to stress. So I've just had a lot of stressful things happen. So I don't necessarily think that it's flared up. I just think that a lot of stressful stuff has happened. So
okay. So how have you felt that you've been over the past few months since those sessions ended?
I thought like I said, I thought I had control over it. And I think that I kind of do now. I mean, like, my partner doesn't really know anything but like me. So I think that after I had lost my first job that maybe it got a little bit worse, but it wasn't like before, way before I had the classes anyway.
Okay. So what would you like to sort of focus on? You've mentioned the job loss, you've mentioned that you and your partner have been having some troubles, you've mentioned things being worse since the past few months. What can I do for you?
I think the main issue here is just my partner. He is the reason I'm here right now, because he thinks as I said, it's gotten out of hand again, which I personally don't think so. And he, as of right now, he's kind of given me an ultimatum, if I don't get this fixed, we're not going to get married. And we've been together for 2 years now, and I think that's kind of ridiculous to have some kind of ultimatum on someone you love. But whatever, if it gets us through this and I get to marry him, then fine. He just says that if he doesn't want to marry someone who doesn't know how to control themselves, but I think I control myself just fine. I don't understand. So whatever.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a time that your partner, if I were to ask your partner what's something Lexa did that was out of hand, what do you think he would say?
I think maybe, like I had said before, maybe me losing my job would be something that he would be upset about. I think it was kind of unfair that I lost my job. It wasn't really my fault to begin with. My coworkers just don't understand my sense of humor and everything, and they thought I was being really rude, and that's how I lost my job. And I don't think that's fair to me, but I think that's one of the reasons that would be a reason that he would think that.
And so how do you guys talk about it when something when you lost your job? How did you guys communicate about it?
Well, he is kind of just upfront, and he's hey, I think you're doing this wrong. I think you messed up big time, blah, blah, blah. And he just doesn't understand. He doesn't get it at all. He's never been in my position. He has never gone through the things that I've gone through. He doesn't understand. So, he just blatantly makes himself, seem like the victim, but then he also, is a huge dick about it. So, and, I try explaining to him, but apparently that doesn't work very well. And then it just gets me angry because it's like, you're obviously not listening to me. You're not giving me any kind of time of day, or like listening to what I have to say. It's not important to you apparently. So then I start getting angry and I start yelling, and then it like reverts back to how I used to be. So
I see.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're not being heard.
Yeah, no, he cuts me off all the time, which I think is super rude because I give him all the time in the world to talk about whatever he wants, whatever he thinks is wrong with me, and then whenever I have to try and talk, I have to like yell in order to get heard. So
And how does he respond?
he just kind of like shakes his head and is just like, well, it's so typical, like typical you, getting all angry again and like being all like upset and everything, I guess. He's just like, well, there it is again, like that. He immediately just goes to like the anger management and whatever, like, fine.
So you feel like the fact that you've been in anger management previously, like, is held against you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I went to the classes and I went through it, and of course the classes ended, but like I feel as if I am better than what I was before. Like, obviously there have been some times, but like I'm not completely, but like mostly better than what I was before.
Not completely?
No, not completely. Like I said, I thought I was doing better, but like he says there's some kind of backslide, and like we did have an argument the other day, so where like that happened. So it's not like I'm not completely free of being like not angry. Like
okay. So well, who else do you have that you can talk to, like in times when you feel like you can't talk to your partner?
Yeah.
Do you have other?
I actually don't. It's really hard to make friends now, especially since I lost my job. A lot of my friends were at my job. My partner is my main support right now, and even when we get into our arguments and when when we fight and he gets upset with me, like I said, he doesn't listen. He just like goes out with his friends because he doesn't want to have to deal with me. So, not really anybody else.
How do you feel you are with your partner?
Most of the time we're pretty good. I mean, lately since the classes have stopped, and he thinks that I'm like backsliding, he, like I said, he made the ultimatum of like me either going to get help or we're not going to get married at all. And he also like recently, with all the stress of like everything that's going on in my life, I've just kind of like lost kind of like my self-care. So I've kind of like gained weight because that's how I stress eat. That's how I like calm down. So I've gained weight, and like he just does not want to like interact with me in the slightest right now, like sexually, since I've gained weight and since like I've apparently backslided. So he just doesn't want to, like, intimacy is not there at all.
That must be really hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard when like you've had all this stress going on in your life, and like he's your only support system, and even like the support system you have, which is just him, it tends to ignore you or like doesn't want to hear you or what you want to say or anything like that.
Does that feel lonely?
Yeah, actually it does. I kind of do feel alone, especially right now anyway. Like, there's nothing worse than being like fat, ugly, and alone. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I feel like I've kind of hit rock bottom almost. And it's just like all the stress is just like on my shoulders. It feels so like everything's so heavy, and it's just like, yeah, it's just very lonely, very isolating.
So what if you could wake up tomorrow and everything would be better? What would be some of the most obvious changes? What would it look like?
Well, one of them would be for my partner to actually listen to me. That would be awesome. For us to be like how we were when we first started dating, that would be great. And if I lost like 20 pounds, that'd be awesome. Who doesn't like that? But yeah, that, and then like, I don't know, just finding peace with some of like the stressful moments that have gone on through this year, just like being at peace with some stuff. That would be really great.
Okay, so I've got things you said, like lose some weight, to feel at peace with things, to feel like calmer.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned for things to be like they used to be with your partner. Am I missing anything? For them to listen to you?
Yeah.
So tell me about how things were with your partner initially.
Well, you know how like all relationships start. It was like honeymoon phase. We were never like off of each other. It was like we were best friends. Like he listened to me, I listened to him. Like we told each other everything, etc., etc. And like he didn't like he actually wanted to spend time with me rather than like leave and go off with his friends because he doesn't want to have to deal with me, type deal. So yeah, it was not normal, but expected for like dating. So.
And as of right now, do you feel like it's possible for you two to get back to where you were?
I would like that. I mean, I'm like willing to marry him. Like it's fine. Like if he were to listen to me more and like wouldn't walk off when I'm trying to talk to him, like yeah. I mean, he did mention like we're not getting married until you get this done and over with. So I feel like this is something that like it's not entirely my problem or my fault, I should say, not my problem. It's not entirely my fault, but if this is what gets us back to what it was, then I'm fine with getting it over with, like whatever.
Okay. So, I mean, and it also sounds, I mean, you were willing to come here at your partner's request, so certainly I can see that on your end, you're willing to make steps toward getting back to where you were, and it sounds like he is as well because he suggested that you come here. So I think those are positive signs. But because I think the anger is a thing, I think we can talk a little bit more about that. Does that, like, what kinds of things make you angry? What kind of?
Just like little things, like when, like specifically with my partner, or just like in general. Just like little things, like when people like smack their gum, or like when my partner obviously doesn't listen to me. Like I have to get loud in order for him to listen because he's always interrupting me. Just like little irritating things that like scratch at the surface for like a long time. Those are super annoying and make it just like builds up inside. You know what I mean?
And then tell me about that when it builds up.
Well, when it builds up, like I obviously like I get super flustered and like I can literally feel my jaw clenching, like closed. Like I don't open my mouth. Like I literally stay shut. I get super angry. I get super hot. And then like eventually I just have to like let it all out. Like I can't just keep that inside. And usually it ends up with me yelling at somebody or like throwing something. Like, yeah.
And then how do you feel after it's let out? Do you feel better or do you feel worse?
It depends. Like sometimes I do feel better because it's like I let it out. It's all like it's off my shoulders. I feel better. Yeah, it's a release. But then I feel bad because like whoever is there has to kind of like witness it, and like that's like not something I'm super proud of. You know what I mean? And like they just have to deal with it kind of. Like I don't feel like I need to say sorry for something that they were doing that was super annoying, but I feel bad that they had to like get the end result, basically.
Would you say that you feel embarrassed?
Sometimes. When it's with my partner, not so much anymore because it's like we've been together for 2 years, like he's seen it, whatever. But like if we're in public, then yeah, like obviously, yeah.
Have you ever previously done anything to try to control your anger?
Besides the classes, I mean, the classes taught me a couple different things, like breathing and counting and stuff like that. But before the classes, no, I did.
Okay.
No.
And since the classes, have you still been utilizing those skills that you learned?
Every once in a while, yeah, and that's why I think my partner thinks I'm like declining, because I haven't used them as much as I used to. Like with the classes, it's a reminder, and I've learned something each time I was there, and it kind of like calmed me down a little bit. But now that I don't have the classes, like it's not the first thing on my mind. You know what I mean? And like I said before, I have so many different stressors and like just like pressure on me right now that's not the first thing that comes to mind at all. Yeah, it's not a priority. So
so what let's talk more about those stressors, because what things are stressing you out? I know you said you lost your job and there's your partner.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, of course. I am unemployed right now. I did lose my second job because of the same shit. Like, people thought that I was being rude to them when, like, they don't understand my sarcasm. Like, I'm super sarcastic. I'm super dark-humored. Like, that's just who I am. If you don't like it, then that's your problem. Like, if you're going to be super sensitive about it, that's not my problem. So that happened, and, like, everything has just gone to shit. Like, that happened, and then my mom, like, suddenly passed away, and, like, everything is just, like, there are children dying in Africa right now, and nobody's doing anything about it. Like, there's fucking world problems up and down, like, everything. Everything's just, like, unfair right now, really. Like, it's not fair to anybody or anything, and especially me. Like, I do not deserve anything that's gone on right now. I don't deserve anything. And, like, I don't understand why I have to come here, because I don't think that it's gotten that bad. But like I said, like, this is the last thing on my mind right now. Like, I have so much other shit to deal with. Like, I'm unemployed. I'm 30 years old and unemployed. Like, that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Not only that, but, like, I literally 2 weeks ago, I had to, like, set up my mom's funeral. Like, I had to watch people bury my mom in the ground, and she had nothing wrong with her. Like, it was sudden. Like, there was no reason for it. So I don't understand.
That sounds really traumatic.
Yeah, it was terrible. And, like, I don't get why that had to happen. She was a wonderful person. Like, nothing was wrong with her. She was fucking healthy. She ran, like, 2 miles a day for an old lady. I don't want to call my mom old, but, like, she's older than I am, but, like, that, like, that's such bullshit. Like, she literally did nothing wrong. Nothing. And, like, they just found her one day. She was, like, dead. She was dead, gone, whatever.
Sometimes, I think life does really feel very unfair. I'm really sorry to hear about that, about your mother.
It's sad. Like, there's nothing you can do about it now, really.
Sure. So you were saying that it feels unfair for you to be here. How have you felt during this session, just sort of expressing a lot of this to me?
Well, expressing a lot of it feels better than just, like, keeping it bottled in, like I said, and then having the end result of me catastrophically ruining something or yelling at someone. It's just, with all of this shit, I mean unfair by, like, with all of the things that have gone on, I don't understand why I have to be here, and, like, I don't understand why I have to deal with all of that stuff and then still be expected to, like, come here because I'm broken or, like, something's wrong with me.
I don't think that coming here means that that you're broken. I don't think it has to mean that. I think that you can use this as a place to talk about these things that are bothering you, these unfair things in the world. And then I think we can also work on some ways to, like, cope with them.
Yeah. Well, when I'm talking about broken, I don't mean like you personally. Obviously, you just met me. But like my partner. I mean, with like my partner, like how he had said that ultimatum. Like obviously something's wrong with me. Like you're not gonna get married to me unless I fix myself, quote unquote. So, and like he acts as if nothing's wrong with him. So like why doesn't he have to do anything? You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have he didn't lose his job. He didn't lose his mom out of fucking nowhere and then have all of this stress on him. He didn't gain weight and then like have me all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, you're like not attractive anymore. I'm not gonna have sex with you. Sorry, BT dubs, you have to go to counseling. Like that's unfair. But
I was going to say something. Shoot. One moment.
and it's not even like he didn't even say it like nicely. He was just like, you're either going to this or we're not getting married. Like marriage is not an option right now until you fix yourself.
Do you think that it's possible that he is worried about you?
He could be worried about me, but like he can act in a different way. There's different ways to go about it, and like he makes me feel like I'm broken and something's wrong with me, and life is already unfair as it is for me. Like like nothing's going right now. So if there's a completely different way that he could have done that, but he didn't. So
would you be open to talking to him about that?
About him being more
About the way he confronts you?
yeah, that would be great. But he doesn't ever seem to want to listen to me, and like I feel like I have to like yell to get my point across. But yeah, I would definitely want to do that.
So you feel if you were to tell him without yelling, he wouldn't hear you?
Well, yeah, because I've tried talking, like, because our arguments, they start off as talking, and then like he is super rude sometimes. So like if I'm talking to him, he'll just like cut me off and say what he wants to say. When eventually it gets to me like building up, and I have to like yell at him.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he would be willing to come in to a session with you?
I mean, he's the one who sent me here in the first place, so I figured, and if he really wants to get married, then yeah, I figured he'd want to do that.
So that could be an option as well, something in the future maybe. But in the meantime, I think we could focus a little bit more on the skills that you learned in your anger classes to sort of calm yourself down. I think if you start with you rather than bringing him in immediately, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
How does that? What do you have a preference or?
I feel like if we just got that over with, like, because it's just not fair to me that I have to be here right now and that he thinks something's wrong with me when obviously, like, it's not working out between the both of us if that's how our arguments are going, and if he thinks that, like, he's like, oh, I'm not going to marry you because you have anger issues, or, like, I'm not going to have sex with you because you gained weight, like, that's unfair to me whatsoever. Not only is that unfair, but that's super rude and close-minded. So I think it would just be best to get it out of the way.
To get what out of the way?
Just like the shit between us. Like since he is my only support system, I feel like that is the only he's literally the only person I have. And if that isn't fixed, then who do I have really?
I know you said that you had friends from your work.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned that they don't understand your sense of humor. But do you think that it would be possible to repair some of those friendships so that you don't feel like there's so much relying on? Because I can see how maybe your partner being your only support system maybe puts pressure on him
Mm-hmm.
that he doesn't know how to work with. So it could be beneficial to both of you if you have like a broader network of people to talk to.
That would be great if my coworker, who was my friend, wasn't the one who like threw me under the bus in the first place. Like she was the one who fucking told my boss and was like, she's being ridiculous, blah blah blah. And I think it's just because we were friends, and then like she just didn't know how to take a joke, and that, you know. And that was like the first job. The second job, like, I don't have any friends from the second job. Because I was like, why even bother? There's no point, really.
Did you ever try to apologize to that friend?
No, because, like I had said before, like, if you don't get it, then that's your problem. If you're going to be sensitive about it, that's your problem. Like, you should know, by knowing me for so long, that, like, that's how I am.
Have you ever been in a situation where someone expected you to know something and you didn't?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like learning experiences, like getting a new job or like going to school kind of thing. It's the first thing I can think of, but other than that, like, not really. Not that I can think of right away anyways. Just like people expecting you to know certain things. Like if you go into a certain class that you, like for example, I went to I was in an honors math class, and like they expected you to know certain things, and like I didn't know. So that is like one of the examples that I can think of.
How did you feel in that situation?
Well, I kind of felt unfair because like I felt unfair because like I didn't know that was a prerequisite for that class, and that like they just expected me to know it on like day one. And when I told them that, they were like, "What do you mean you didn't learn this?" I was like, "Well, I was in the honors class. Like, isn't like I just moved up to the honors class. Like I didn't take the class in between that." And they were kind of like, "Oh, well."
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's possible that your friend felt frustrated that you expected her to know you were kidding when maybe she just didn't realize it?
I could say that, yeah. But like I had said before, she knew me for a while, so it seems like she should have understood that to begin with. And if it, like, I don't understand why it was that bad in order to, like, tell my boss and to, like, get me fired. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Like, what kind of friend does that, really?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I understand what you're saying, that can feel really, like you were betrayed.
Yeah.
Well, our session is coming close to our end. I hope that you continue to come in and so that we can talk about some of these things. I think that some of the things that we can work on, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, are some of the skills to help you when you're feeling angry. And then I think we can also work on some communication, like maybe exercises to get you in touch with your partner and anybody else that you may be talking to if you're looking for work or whatever is kind of coming up. And then we can maybe talk a little bit about your feelings with like the recent loss of your mother and like your job losses and your health. You said you wanted to lose some weight. Maybe I feel like there's a lot of things that we can work on together if you are down.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fine. I mean, I have to go to these anyway. I mean, if I want to work out with my partner and stuff. So, yeah, I can see me coming back here.
Cool. That sounds really good.
Okay, cool. Solid. I never know how to end these.
Okay, bye.